Hi, welcome to Kim Reads Urantia. But first, we're going to have a short reading from Light the Flame by Andrew Harvey. So today is February 26th. This is a reading by Andrew Harvey, inspired by Rainer Maria Rilke. I'm not familiar with this person, but I looked him up recently just to talk about it a little bit. Um, he is even though his middle name is Maria, he's a guy, a male person, and he lived like 100 years ago, 100 and some years ago in Austria, or says he's Bohemian, Austrian. He wrote in German, and he was both a prose writer and a poet. So lots of stuff out there, but let's see what Andrew has to say. And this is inspired by Rainer Maria Rilke. Okay, everything is close against my face. Everything close to my face is stone. I am in anguish and have so little knowledge. Break in, Lord, so your great transformation will happen to me, and my great grief cry will happen to you. Wow, okay. This, to me, this feels so almost desperate. Stone is pressing against my face, and I'm like trapped in this stone. And so I feel somebody in a lot of pain and um, kind of paralysis of anxiety. What's interesting is the last line, my great grief cry will happen to you. So he's, in a way, he's saying does he want God to be sad for him, sorry for him? I don't think so. I think that's about um, revealing humanity to God, the same as divinity. God is revealed to humanity. So he wants this, it's this exchange thing, and in Urantia we talk about the ascending suns and the descending suns, and how at the same time that we are seeking God, seeking to understand God and the ministering spirits are seeking to understand us as well. So God finds us while we are looking for God. Okay, so that's really, really lovely. Thank you, Andrew Harvey. Okay, and we'll start here with our Urantia reading. So this is paper 191, the appearances to the apostles and other leaders. And this is the first section, the appearance to Peter. And of course, Peter's been just stewing over this. Why? What is he really risen? If he's really risen, why didn't he tell me? Oh, maybe he's mad at me. Maybe, oh gosh, maybe it's my fault that he's not coming. And all this. So this is weighing heavy on Peter. Okay, it was near 8:30 this Sunday evening when Jesus appeared to Simon Peter in the garden of the Mark home. This was his 8th Urantia manifestation. Peter had lived under a heavy burden of doubt and guilt ever since his denial of the Master. All day Saturday and this Sunday, he had fought the fear that perhaps he was no longer an apostle. Oh, Peter. He had shuddered at the fate of Judas. Maybe I'm as bad as Judas. Oh, dear. And even thought that he, too, had betrayed his master. Okay, Peter's a little grandiose here, isn't he? I love Peter, though. But yeah, I think I feel that, and I recognize that kind of energy. All this afternoon, he thought that it might be his presence with the apostles that prevented Jesus' appearing to them, provided, of course, he had really risen from the dead. And it was to Peter, in such a frame of mind and in such a state of soul, that Jesus appeared as the dejected apostle strolled among the flowers and shrubs. When Peter thought of the loving look when Peter thought of the loving look of the master as he passed by on Annis's porch, and as he turned over in his mind that wonderful message brought him early that morning by the women who came from the empty tomb, "Go tell my apostles and Peter." As he contemplated these tokens of mercy, his faith began to surmount his doubts, and he stood still, clenching his fists, while he spoke aloud. "I believe he has risen from the dead. I will go and tell my brethren." And as he said this, there suddenly appeared in front of him the form of a man who spoke to him in familiar tones, saying, "Peter, the enemy desired to have you, but I would not give you up." "I knew it was not from the heart that you disowned me. Therefore, I forgave you even before you asked. But now must you cease to think about yourself and the troubles of the hour while you prepare to carry the good news of the gospel to those who sit in darkness. No longer should you be concerned with what you may obtain from the kingdom, but rather be exercised about what you can give to those who live in dire spiritual poverty. Gird yourself, Simon, for the battle of a new day, the struggle with spiritual darkness and the evil doubtings of the natural minds of men." Peter and the Urantia Jesus walked through the garden and talked of things past, present, and future for almost 5 minutes. Then the master vanished from his gaze, saying, "Farewell, Peter, until I see you with your brethren." That's just so sweet, because here he's feeling so just wretched and just, but he has the courage out loud to say this here. "I believe this. I believe he's risen," and that made a huge difference. And Jesus said, "I wouldn't give you up. The enemy wanted you, but I would not give you up." Oh, that's just, Jesus loves him so much. For a moment, Peter was overcome by the realization that he had talked with the risen master and that he could be sure he was still an ambassador of the kingdom. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yep. He had just heard that glorified master exhort him to go on preaching the gospel. And with all this welling up in his heart, he rushed to the upper chamber and to the presence of his fellow apostles, exclaiming in breathless excitement, "I have seen the Master. He was in the garden. I talked with him, and he has forgiven me." Peter's declaration that he had seen Jesus in the garden made a profound impression upon his fellow apostles, and they were about ready to surrender their doubts when Andrew got up and warned them not to be too much influenced by his brother's report. After all, I know this. I've known him a lot longer than you do. He's a little bit crazy, right? I don't know. Andrew intimated that Peter had seen things which were not real before. Andrew's the sensible one, the no-nonsense guy, I think. Although Andrew did not directly allude to the vision of the night on the Sea of Galilee, wherein Peter claimed to have seen the Master coming to them walking on the water. He said enough to betray to all present that he had this incident in mind. Simon Peter was very much hurt by his brother's insinuations and immediately lapsed into crestfallen silence. The twins felt very sorry for Peter, and they both went over to express their sympathy and to say that they believed him and to reassert that their own mother had also seen the Master. God bless these Alphaeus twins. They're so they're beautiful and refreshing and innocent. And I've worked with people, adults with developmental disabilities, and that's how I found them. They're such lovely people. It's yeah, it takes so little to make them happy or grateful, and they're willing to offer whatever comfort they can. They're just lovely people. So, okay, that's all for today. That's really touching. That's really a touching portrait of Peter's being forgiven and understanding that he's forgiven. How could he not be forgiven? Look at how important he is to the gospel, and how would this faith be different without Simon Peter? He's given a lot, and he's just human, Everybody makes mistakes, and he's sorry, and he's forgiven, and okay, well, that's very beautiful, and thank you for joining me this evening, and have a really good night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay.